So it's July now, and it's hot and sticky outside, which is a great time for some nice cold mango watermelon sorbet. This is really easy to make. It just takes a little bit of time commitment, about 4 to 6 hours to freeze. But you'll start by cutting up the watermelon. We're going to put that in the blender and make watermelon juice out of it. So that might be a little loud for a minute here. So now that it's all pureed, we need to strain the pulp and the small seeds out of here. So we'll use our strainer. 2 cups of watermelon juice. So to 2 cups of watermelon juice, we're going to add 3/4 cup of sugar, and we will cook that just until the sugar dissolves. You're going to need to eventually cool this down, of course, since you're making a frozen dessert out of it, so you don't want it to get too hot in the beginning. These are our mangoes. This is what they look like outside. This is one cut up. They're a little green and red, and they should be just a little soft to the touch. So we'll chop up 2 mangoes. And once those are all chopped, we'll put those in the blender too. So our mango is pureed and our sugar is completely dissolved in the watermelon juice. We're going to combine the two. Looks kind of funky now. Trust me, it'll taste delicious. We're going to add a tablespoon of lemon juice. Make sure it's not too sweet. Next, we'll let this cool for a while before we transfer it to a large, flat pan to put in the freezer to cool. It'll take about 4 to 6 hours to freeze completely, but you want to keep an eye on it. About once an hour, you'll have to stir it to make sure the ice crystals don't form completely. You don't want to make a giant ice cube. You want to make something that you can scoop and serve. So we'll be back to check on that in a while. So it's been sitting in the freezer for about 2 hours now, and it's time to scrape down the ice crystals that are forming around the edge. You might not be able to see this very well, but there's just some very slight bits of ice forming here. Like I said, it's a slow process that will take some time, but you don't want these crystals to form completely and create one solid block. So there we go, and now it's time to go back in the freezer. So depending on your freezer, how cold it is, how often people open it up for other things, it may take 4 hours, it may take a little bit longer. But when you finally get into the last stage, it'll look something like this. You just keep scraping it every hour with the fork and it gets kind of solid. At that point, you'll want to transfer it to a smaller container, something airtight, where it won't get freezer burn while you wait to eat it. Now you can see it's kind of granular, it's a little bit chunky, it smells like so much fruit, it's great. You might want to let it soften up for a few minutes after you take it out of the freezer before serving it. It makes scooping a little easier. And there you have it. Some mango watermelon frozen dessert. Replace it with any fruit you like, and it's great for summer.